Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about Harmen Smith today, a Nintendo fanboy yet again, talking about palworld, how he thinks that palworld sucks, and how it's never going to win a lawsuit, and how he thinks that everyone is shilling for the game. So today I want you to grab your soda, grab your popcorn, or even grab a bowl of ice cream, because we are going to be talking about Harmen Smith, a well-known Nintendo fanboy today. So, on topic, I know I'm a bit late to the party of palworld versus Nintendo and all that, so I'm sorry because I'm still trying to catch up on that. And I know that there's people in the UK, 5% of you, that are watching my video. I appreciate it. And 8% of you in the United States, I appreciate it. I like to thank you for the views and the likes and the comments, knowing that you guys want more like this, so I'll continue making more. So I'll keep making it, and I'm sorry if you see this watermark. I just want to give you guys a heads up on that. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. Like, comment, and subscribe. Even if you don't like it, then that's fine. I would understand. So today on topic, he thinks that Nintendo is going to win this lawsuit against palworld, but he also thinks that, knowing without research, he thinks that palworld is plagiarism. So today I'm going to try to prove him wrong of why he is a total liar and an asshole today. So
last night I did a warning stream talking about palworld, the game that the indie YouTube scene is pretending is like gonna be the Pokemon killer. It's gonna be some big thing. It has 500,000 concurrent players on Steam. It's sold over 1 million copies. It's over for the Pokemon Company. It's over for Nintendo.
And see, this is where you're spreading misinformation, Harmen. It's not over for Pokemon Company and Nintendo. Pokemon's way too big in the United States and Japan. Do you honestly think Pokemon's just gonna be shut down within a day? No, I don't think so. Because palworld just came out of the blue. And yet again, you do no research of your points to prove that palworld is gonna win of Pokemon. And true, they could, but that's a very heavily investment to make Palmon cards, just like how Yu-Gi-Oh was a big investment to Konami, and they're the ones that own Yu-Gi-Oh. So I don't see what your point.
Right? I talked about what people were gonna do. And, yeah, I was right. Like, all day long, we were bombarded with ridiculous notions that, like, oh, this game is a masterpiece. Oh, look at me play this game. Oh, look at how great it is. And now that the hype session is over, much like Temtem before it, the game is completely forgotten. It is dwindling in popularity. More and more people are starting to notice, like, what's going on. The game is being shilled. You know, YouTubers aren't exactly the...
Okay, the game is not being chilled. The game's getting a praise that it's better than Pokemon because it's in early access. And I don't know what the fuck Temtem is. I never even heard of that game. So I really don't know what the hell you're even talking about, why you're bringing that game up. But anyways, back to the topic. You're just mad because palworld is selling more copies than Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and Legends of Arceus, when the game is inspired by Legends of Arceus, and yet you still choose to defend Nintendo because you're a Nintendo fanboy, and yet you still want to suck the company's dick.
The biggest advocates for game quality anyway, right? They just jump onto trends, right? So with that in mind, with what's been going on, like, what can we learn from this, right? What can we learn from this experience? Well, first of all, it doesn't seem to be possible to use the same kind of techniques to prop up a game like this that the industry uses for Baldur's Gate 3 or whatever, right? Because Overwatch had, like, a similar kind of, like, thing where people came out and they tried script.
Wow, you're still salty over Baldur's Gate 3 getting a Game of the Year than Nintendo's games, and why the hell are you bringing in Overwatch? Just a question. Overwatch has been heavily criticized for their antics, and there's no PvE, so it just got shut down, and their desync is totally awful, and you act like Splatoon is better than fucking Overwatch. I don't know why you're comparing that game to fucking Overwatch 2 and Overwatch 1, when that game is not even really that big on Nintendo Switch, and I bet it runs like ass on it. So, cry me to a fucking river, Harmen. And another thing too, that's what you said about Armored Core 6.
About, oh man, there are no colorful online shooters in this market. Overwatch is completely unique in this regard. And then meanwhile, like Splatoon came out last year, was better put together, like remained relevant longer, right? Was more unique and creative and had more interesting characters, right? Splatoon stomped Overwatch in every single way, shape, and form. But for the first 10 years, almost, yeah, about half.
And yet again, this is false information. Can you show us on player count, like how many player counts there is on a Nintendo Switch? No, you can't, but you can show us a player count on Steam. You say that you have a big beefy computer or a laptop. I bet it's probably ass, but good luck. But Overwatch still has a consistent concurrent players. Sure, there are people that are still playing it because it's the only game that they like, and it's what started the hero shooter genre of like games, but it's still getting criticized for the bullshit that Blizzard did. So I don't see how it's better than Splatoon when Splatoon 3 didn't really sell that good. So what's your fucking point, Harmen? Can you show us research? I don't think you could, you fucking pussy.
That long, about 5 years. For the first several years, people were saying the exact opposite. Until Overwatch completely fell off a cliff, people were saying Overwatch was this big phenomenon. 40 million players online at once or something like that. It's one of the most popular things ever. Well, if it was so popular, it wouldn't have fallen off the way it did. Okay? Like, I don't understand what's so hard to understand about this. And meanwhile, like, Splatoon is still going. And to this day, people will...
Okay, the reason why it fell off the way it did is because they got bought out by Microsoft, okay? A $3 trillion company that bought them for $70 billion. And the reason why it fell off was because there was a lot of microtransaction issues that they did not want to fucking fix. There was a lot of desync issues, a lot of server issues, a lot of hacking problems. And it came out on all platforms, the Switch and PS4, Xbox One, and PC, and Xbox Series X and S, with all crossplay support. So I don't see how your point is about palworld. It makes no sense, okay? So like, stick to the topic that you're trying to go with, dude. And also, I'm just gonna say this is boring.
Try to do this thing that like, Blizzard made all these mistakes, like Overwatch was popular at one point, blah, 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 blah. But no. What actually happened is that you latched onto a trend and began supporting that trend. You began feeding into the beast. You were part of the process of pretending this game was some Game of the Year contender, right? When in reality, it wasn't really relevant in any way.
Says the guy who has walls of virginity behind him of Mario and all the Nintendo product. Last video that I made about you, you hold your Pikachu, saying that palworld is never gonna win the lawsuit. Now I'm making a video you to catch up on that trend of videos that are making fun of you, like Gara, Klutzy King. At least you're not copyright striking like what JTech did. That's another thing. So honestly, your point is actually going off topic of what you're trying to say. Why are you talking about other games that makes no total sense of the topic that you're even talking about? Just stick with the topic, dude. This is annoying and it pisses me off, okay?
Shape or form. Overwatch is a really interesting example because right now you can't even go back and play the Overwatch that people supposedly liked. That was the thing with World of Warcraft, was that like people thought that like, if we just go back to WoW Classic, it'll be good again. But that didn't happen, right? Because the game was never good to begin with. It was just a new, novel thing to you at the time, and you got tired of it. And you don't want to admit it, right? You don't want to admit that the game wasn't that good to begin with.
Yeah, because Blizzard delisted the first Overwatch that people actually bought their money for. Like, my brother had it for $60 and he paid the Ultimate Edition for like $10 when it was on sale. They removed it off of his library because they just delisted it just to make Overwatch 2. And it was supposed to be like an upgraded version to that made no sense whatsoever, that they could have just released Overwatch 2 and still keep Overwatch 1, which I don't even know why we're even talking about Overwatch when that game's just dead in the water at this point. Nobody fucking cares, so.
So you kind of jump through hoops and make excuses and kind of justify your attitude. You kind of justify why you act this way about these products. You kind of justify why things are becoming so... why these games are forgotten so quickly, right? Like Elden Ring, Baldur's Gate 3. Like, long term, these games are not going to be relevant. You know, Elden Ring is already trailing behind Dark Souls.
Okay, can you prove me wrong of how Elden Ring is behind Dark Souls? Which, no offense, Elden Ring is the sequel to Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3. And Bloodborne is like in between, or maybe after Sekiro, okay? That makes no sense because Elden Ring is still going strong, plus they just released Elden Ring Night Region, and I can't wait to see how bad you're gonna react to that. Maybe you already did, I don't know. I would have to go through your channel just to see what your takes are. But the fact that you said Armor Core 6 fucking sucks pisses me off because you do not know how Armor Core 6 is, as you can see from this gameplay. I'm getting my ass kicked if I don't play it right.
In best games ever made polls, right? Elden Ring is never going to be more popular than Dark Souls. Just like Dark Souls is never going to be more popular than Skyrim. And just like how Skyrim is never going to be more popular than Zelda, right? Like, there is really nothing you can do, right, about to establish to demolish these established Nintendo properties, right? By saying that like palworld is going to like beat Pokemon, you would have to have a
Okay, just to get this clear, Skyrim is the #1 sold game on all platforms, including the Nintendo Switch. And Skyrim's pretty old because it came out on the 360 and PS3 generation, then they remastered it with a special edition, then they released the anniversary edition because it is an anniversary edition, plus you get all DLC content for totally free. And the fact that you're still pissed about Elden Ring winning Game of the Year is still relevant, okay? It just annoys me that you're going off topic. And second of all, if palworld wanted to make a Pokemon card game, they could do it. That's another thing. palworld can make Palmon cards if they choose to innovate the card game, okay? Konami did that, and look at Yu-Gi-Oh! It's still big to this day, even in the United States.
TCG, you would have to have a merchandise line, you would have to have, you know, an anime adaptation, you would have to have, like, all of this stuff, right? All of these highly successful, lucrative products on top of the video game franchise, right? And whatever you think about the video game franchise right now, like, there's no denying that Pokemon is actually doing quite a bit better in those other avenues, right? Because I would have said before Gen 8, like, before Dexit, like, the big controversial thing people had about the brand was how the anime was being treated. How they didn't retire Ash, and how they weren't, like, really evolving the formula, and how, like, it was in this weird spot. Like, old fans didn't want to keep watching it, but new ones weren't really coming in, so they decided to finally retire Ash as a character.
Yeah, because we got tired of Ash being like the main protagonist when they could have literally retired him. Finally, after all these years, I stopped watching after season 6. Actually, no, it was actually season 16 because they kept just going and going and going. So, like, I don't understand why, like, they don't understand what fans are actually asking for. Maybe it's to just keep going with the series, but add new characters, maybe new chapters to the series based on the video games. Plus, the older gens are just terrible, so.
These Pretendos, like the anime is kind of stepping up. You know, the TCG is stepping up. You know, like the mobile apps are stepping up. Like, there is no way in the world that palworld, like a glitchy, uninspired, you know, straight up plagiarized mess is ever going to topple Pokemon. And that was obvious to me from the beginning, before I even looked at what the game was and what it was like. And before I started realizing that, like, wow, these are just Pokemon designs with, like, different typings and different colors, right? like, before I realized how, like, blatant it was, right? Like, I was saying that, like, this is another Temtem. This is another yokai.
Okay, I never heard of fucking Tim Tim or Yokai. I don't know what the fuck those games are, so I don't even want to know. But you and what other Redditors have said this, Harmon? Can you pull up research? Can you actually look it up? And how is palworld plagiarizing? It makes no sense, okay? So, it didn't really in copyright anything, in fact, okay? The problem is that they wanted to make something new. They mixed Ark, they mixed Legends of Arceus mechanics into it. It's not a copy and paste plagiarized game that is in early access for $30, better than any other game right now, okay, that just came out last year, than Helldivers 2, because that game came out as well. So that's another thing, Harmon.
Watch, this is another Digimon. You know, a flash in the pan thing that's relevant because, like, people desperately need Pokemon to go away so they can start claiming that Nintendo is doomed, but, like, it just isn't happening. Like, Pokemon, it's interesting because it's not just the fact that it's so entrenched and so popular. Like, Pokemon is completely dominant in its niche, right? In a lot of ways, like, I said this on my stream, like, I don't think you're ever going to topple Pokemon by doing the same thing as it is, right? Looking at palworld and seeing the designs and seeing, like, the monsters and the typings and just, like, the way the world is set up and stuff like that. Like, it's all just very Pokemon-esque.
Okay, so this is where I gotta say something. I don't think palworld's gonna kill Pokemon. I'm not gonna say that. I don't think it's gonna end-game Pokemon. I should say kill, I'm sorry. But, anyways, I think palworld would actually give Game Freak good competition if they decide to stop being so goddamn lazy of releasing Pokemon every single year, because Scarlet and Violet and S and X, oh my god, I bet that was terrible for the Nintendo Switch. The fact that you guys had to pay $60 and plus DLCs for new Pokemon games is a goddamn disgrace in my opinion. And this is another thing too that pisses me off about Harmon. He talks about other games, but then babbles about like it's like pigeons, okay, like a meme or something, and it just makes no sense to the topic. But I think palworld is a good game, and there's still 2.1 million players to this day. So honestly, I don't know what the hell you're even talking about, Harmon, because this makes no goddamn sense whatsoever, and it just pisses me off that you're going off topic to not stick with the topic that you're trying to prove your point. So,
right? But they're not doing anything new with it, and they're not doing anything uninspired with it. Like, they're not doing anything inspired with it. Like, it's just the same thing, but ooh, you can craft. Like, that's like the stupidest, like, most basic thing you can possibly add to a game like this. It's like, ooh, you can add crafting. You can make anything you want. Like, it's like, it's one of those, that kind of thing was being made fun of 10 years ago, right?
and for that's the end of the video. Plus, I don't think crafting is 10 years ago that dumb, because it's a survival game. I don't know what you expect, Harmon. It's not like you would actually play the game. But thank you guys for watching. This is the end of the video, and I had to do a lot of editing because it was just it was so stupid, because it was off topic, okay, and it just made no sense of him talking about like other games and stuff. So it made me just not want to keep editing this video, so I had to lower it to like 19 minutes and 26 seconds. So I hope you guys leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on that notification. If you dislike it, then hey, I understand. That means I'll still have to improve my video. But if you like it, I'll keep posting more content. And I would like to thank you guys for watching my videos. Well, my one video about Harmen Smith about palworld of the lawsuit. So you guys have a good day, and bye.